Hey guys, and welcome to a new History Experience series where I'll be interviewing historians on different topics. Today I'll be interviewing Ivan Eland, a defence analyst and author known for his expertise in foreign policy and government reform. He is also a senior fellow and director at the Independent Institute's Centre on Peace and Liberty. We'll discuss his book, Recarving Rushmore, which offers a unique ranking of US presidents. Thank you, Ivan, for taking the time to join us today.
Thanks for having me on.
Could you please provide an introduction to your book, Recarving Rushmore, along with a principal inspiration and key message behind it?
Yes, well, I have been, interested in presidential rankings for a long time because you have left-leaning people who rate presidents, and you have right-leaning people who rate presidents. And I thought, well, their ratings are often vague and based on leadership qualities and all this sort of stuff. But what I wanted to do was I wanted to rate presidents on their policies, or actually what they got done through legislation or their actions, and see if that comported with peace, prosperity, and liberty. Those are my three areas of categorization. And one of the things that I didn't do was, if the person was a nice person or was charismatic or whatever, I just looked at the policies to see what they did. And of course, there's two levels. One is, was the president effective? And that meaning what he said he was going to get done, how much of that did get done? But number two, and much more important, is, was the president a success in promoting peace, prosperity, and liberty with those policies? Because some presidents were very successful. An example is James Polk in the U.S.-Mexican War. He was very effective, and he had four things he wanted to get done, and I won't go into what those were, but he got all four of them done in only 4 years. But he was an abysmal president because he tricked the U.S. Congress into war with Mexico, and he had a secret plan to grab the upper half of Mexico, which he did. He grabbed 51% of it. And that became the American Southwest. So he wasn't a very good, successful president, but he was a very effective president. Of course, the worst thing you can have is an effective president who is not successful.
In your book, you have ranked John Tyler, the 10th president, as the greatest president. Why do you think he's the greatest?
Well, I go by the criteria that we need less government, because the government distorts the markets, it erodes liberties, and I think it's not just leftist governments that do this, it's rightist governments as well. And John Tyler really had to go against his own party, the Whigs, because he was really more aligned with the Democrats, which was the opposition, the other party. And he really alienated so many people in his party sticking up for lesser government that he got kicked out of the party and didn't get renominated the next time for the next 4 years. So he really made a lot of sacrifices to keep the government small, and that was his primary purpose at the time.
In your opinion, which three presidents currently rated among the highest should be ranked lower, and which three presidents should be placed higher, apart from Tyler?
Well, if you're comparing it to the usual presidents, most of my presidents in the top 4 or 5, people wouldn't know them if you said John Tyler we were just talking about. The second one, a really great president, was Grover Cleveland from the Democratic Party. He stuck up for small government. He had a high integrity. He admitted when he made mistakes and that sort of thing. You don't see that too much anymore. and Martin Van Buren and Rutherford B. Hayes were my third and fourth presidents. And those are not people that aren't well known either. And they had flaws. Every one of these presidents has flaws. There's no perfect president in U.S. history, but these were the four that I thought were really unsung, who should have been rated a lot higher by the traditional people who rate presidents. But I would say that the bottom president is Donald Trump. And the reason is he basically tried to overthrow the U.S. governing system by saying that there was fraud in the election. And there's very little fraud in U.S. elections, and it's very decentralized. So if there is fraud in one state or one district, whatever, it does not necessarily contaminate the whole vote. But he said, well, these swing states in our electoral college, curiously, only the fraud he alleged was in those key states, which if they would have turned, he would have won. So he then incited an insurrection. I think another couple of bad presidents are William McKinley, who got us into the Spanish-American War, which really changed the United States from being a liberty-loving nation on the road to the imperial presidency, which we have now. Another bad president was Harry Truman, and he's really highly regarded by historians because he started the Cold War with the Soviet Union. Now, of course, the Soviet Union was not only his doings. The Soviet Union was responsible too, but I think he changed FDR's policy from getting along with Stalin and the Soviet Union after World War II and kind of managing the world to one of he just had a reflexive hatred of the Soviet Union. And he actually, I think, created a worldwide crusade on communism, which I think undermined the republic over the 40-year period. So I don't think he was the president. I have unconventional views on some of these things, but I just don't think that a worldwide crusade against communism was necessary. Maybe some efforts to shore up democracy in Europe and East Asia might have been fine, but to go into Greece, Turkey, and farther than that in the Middle East was and other continents was wrong. And he was really started us the road to superpower, cloaking it in the contest against communism. He really started developing the informal worldwide empire that the U.S. Still has in some respects.
James Buchanan and Andrew Johnson, the 15th and 17th presidents, are often ranked as the worst. Do you agree with the ranking, or should one or both be rated higher?
Well, I think yes. I think they weren't very good. I think Trump is probably going to, when everything is over, be worse than both of them for trying to overthrow the governing system. No president's ever done that. Even the Confederates in the Civil War didn't do that. They wanted to leave and take their slaves with them. That's what they wanted to do. And they even offered to pay for the federal facilities that they were taking over in various southern states. That doesn't make what the Confederates doing was right, but they at least didn't try to overthrow the northern government. And Buchanan, the reason I'm mentioning this is because Buchanan let them secede, and he should have tried to negotiate with them at the time. But in fact, he fanned the flames by he was a pro-South president from the North, and he stoked the Civil War, the mini Civil War in Kansas, by siding with the slave side, the slavery side, and he just let the situation of secession deteriorate, so that when Lincoln took over, he just kind of was delaying to throw it in his lap. The Confederates had already attacked a ship that was trying to provision this Fort Sumter, which was a Union fort in Confederate territory, and he didn't take the bait, but he really didn't do anything to try to avoid the secession or or try to negotiate the states back into the Union before Lincoln took over. So I think he's one of the worst presidents, certainly. And Andrew Johnson was the president after Lincoln, and he was really he was very pro South, and he wanted to reintegrate the South back into the Union, and this came at a price, and that was he wasn't for black rights at all. He knew that the slavery was going to have to go because of all the black soldiers that fought on the North in the war. That really, in some senses, made the difference because they would have had personnel shortages and that sort of thing. So it was pretty much a done deal that slavery was going to end after the war, but he was against black voting rights, black equality in being a citizen and that sort of thing. And so he resisted, all the amendments of the post-war period, except the slavery amendment, the 13th Amendment. He resisted the other ones. And so he really helped the South, the Confederates just retake the South after the war. So in other words, under him, Union transferred a victory in war to losing the peace.
Huh. Okay. Of all unsuccessful US presidential candidates, who do you believe would have made the best president?
Well, I think recently John Kasich would have been a good president. He ran against Trump in 2016, and I used to do some work for him. I didn't work directly for him, but I used to do some work for him when he was a congressman. And he was very budget conscious, and he was a very pragmatic guy. And he has spoken out against Trump many times. So for some reason, he doesn't draw Trump's ire like other people do, but he was. And I think he probably would have been a very good candidate. I mean, I would even say Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris would have been better than Trump. And I'm not a big fan of Hillary Clinton, but both of those, I don't think they're outstanding candidates, but they were certainly better than the alternative. And I think that's what you have to be as a presidential candidate in the U.S. system, because we only have usually two main choices. And it's either the Democrat or the Republican. And if the other one is so bad that you look good comparison, that's better off. But I think Kasich was a viable alternative. He would have gotten the Republican nomination instead of Trump, and I think he would have definitely beaten the Democrat in the race.
Thank you for the great answers. And to conclude, could you tell the viewers where they may get the book?
Oh, yes. You can get it on Amazon, or you can get it at the Independent Institute at www.independent.org. So either one is a good way to get it.
Ivan, thank you very much for joining us today, and I wish you continued success in your work.
Thank you for having me on.